where young minds meet tomorrow's tech.
Mastering leverage, exploring advanced concepts and everyday uses. Torque and leverage. Hello again, young scientists. Today, we're going to dive into an important concept that helps levers work even better torque. Have you ever wondered why it's harder to move a heavy object when you press close to the pivot or fulcrum? Well, let's find out how torque makes all the difference. What is torque? Here we have a lever with a big stone resting on it. When you push close to the fulcrum, like this, Professor Leverton demonstrates by pushing near the fulcrum, it's harder to lift, right? That's because you're not creating enough torque. Torque is the force that causes rotation around a pivot or fulcrum. The farther from the fulcrum you apply the force, the more torque you create, making it easier to lift or move the object. How torque works. Torque is the product of the force you apply and the distance from the pivot point, also known as the fulcrum. The farther away from the fulcrum you apply the force, the greater the torque. This is why a longer lever or applying force farther from the fulcrum makes lifting or rotating objects much easier. When you apply force farther away from the fulcrum, you're creating more torque, which means less effort is needed to lift the object. That's why long handles are so useful in tools like wrenches. Real-life examples of torque. Let's look at this wrench. When you use a wrench to turn a bolt, the force you apply at the handle creates torque, helping you twist and turn the bolt much more easily. Here, the handle of the wrench is long, so you're applying force farther from the fulcrum, where the bolt meets the wrench. The more distance from the fulcrum, the more torque you generate, making it easier to tighten or loosen bolts. Summary of torque and leverage. So, to sum it up, torque is the force that causes rotation around a pivot. The farther from the fulcrum you apply the force, the greater the torque, and the easier it is to move or rotate objects. This is why longer levers and tools like wrenches are so effective. Now you know how torque makes levers even more powerful. It's all about applying force in the right spot to get the most leverage with the least effort. Keep experimenting, young scientists, and keep exploring the wonders of force and movement. See you next time for more exciting lessons on the science behind simple machines.
Brought to you by Meta Robotics Education.